Silence.
Miss anybody? Arun. Right. Is that the color? Yes. Sorry.
Who left his phone here? That was
Please, a chair for Jonathan. People that is part of the content. Okay.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. So today, my name is Brighton Gwemele, the brand manager for tomatoes category GB Foods. You are welcome today to this very moment where we are celebrating our breaking of the largest Nigerian South jollof rice, Gino. Okay, I will hand over the microphone to the marketing director, Orolo Antimo.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, president and women. Okay, so to start, thanks, Brett, for the introduction. But I'm going to hand over to the MD for GB Foods, who is going to start by giving us a welcome address. Yes, so please, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Vincent Egbe, a visionary leader, the main reason why we're all here today, the one who motivates us and pushes us to do great things. Ladies and gentlemen, please your hands together again.
All right, if I ever think about running for elections, I would definitely hire you to do the introductions. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Success has many fathers and mothers, and usually failure is always abandoned. We are gathered here today because of a visible success. And one of the interesting things is, as we celebrate the success, we don't see the many failures that may have led up until this moment. And so this is a welcome address to us for us to celebrate this historic moment with our two-time Guinness World Record holder, Hilda Baci, and Nigeria's favorite culinary brand, Gino. But this is more a celebration of every one of us. Whether you are holding the camera or whether you are sitting on this side of the camera. Today we are celebrating the success that reminds us that as long as we learn from our failures, we will continue to improve. Today's celebration is by no means a declaration of victory, where we are saying, hey, we're waving the banner and we're saying that we've done it, we've done it, we've done it. No. Today's celebration is us planting a flag on a milestone to say, we've climbed up this mountain, and our commitment to climb up higher mountains for the sake of translating our culinary traditions into the culture of our people. And this culture of excellence and seeking to exceed what people may consider impossible. That we'll continue to try, we'll continue to put in all an effort to make it possible. Of course, Ore gave all the glowing comments to me. But the reality is that Ore and Hilda did this all. Okay? And so you have to give them their flowers. Thank you and welcome. Let the proceedings begin. Do I just hand over to Hilda to tell us the story? What's the name? Yes, yes. Yeah. You know what, Hilda? I'll start to do the questions. Fantastic. I know somebody's supposed to be asking questions, but I'm going to start asking the questions. If nobody starts to ask the questions.
So we have them.
You have it ready?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you very much. My name is Gino, I represent CBC News. So over 20,000 people joined the person, and millions more watched online, right? So, and now Guinness has certified the record that you hold with Gino. Looking back, what does this moment represent to you personally? And I'll also add that, what was the place of your mother in all of this? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll start by saying thank you to each and every one of you for being here. This means a lot to me and it means a lot to us. And to answer that question, there are so many layers. I mean, when the announcement was officially made, like when it was finally official that we had this record, or we had set this record, it just felt more like a dream come true, because there were so many conversations. Ori and I started this conversation since 2024, I think July 2024, and our very first meeting was in January this year. So imagine talking about one thing for 9 months, and as time goes on, as the conversations progress, you discover new things, you realize new hurdles that you need to cross. And I remember us having a conversation and asking ourselves, like, what's the first thing we're going to do when, the record is announced, like when we get it officially. And it just felt like answered prayers. I might sound very religious, but that's the truth, because I think through this whole time we held on to God, and we could not have done this. But there's so many miracles that we experienced in the time of having done this attempt. So it felt like answered prayers. It felt like, yeah, I always say I'm working in line with God's purpose for my life. So it's more like if you need any confirmation at the time that you were doing the right thing, that also felt like very, very strong confirmation that I was doing the right thing. And my mom is, I always say my mom is like the most supportive mom. And I look at my mom and there's so many things in her that I see in myself. And I just feel like she's been so supportive. She's always there. She was ready to come a month before the event to just cheer me on, help me out in any possible way. And I feel like when you have that support and you have that love at home, it solves like half of your problem. So yeah, I owe a lot of who I am and what I've been able to achieve so far to my mom. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so
Second question, yeah, the second question. So this question is directed at Mr. Vincent. So Gino has now been written into Guinness World Record history. From a leadership standpoint, what does this milestone mean for GB Foods Nigeria and the Gino brand?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the name.
My name is Chidima.
Okay. Thank you for the question, Chidima.
Thank you, sir.
Gino, as you know, is a brand that has been committed to pushing the envelope. Over 30 years ago, Gino was the first brand to begin to manufacture tomatoes in a sachet. At the time, 100% of all tomatoes in Nigeria just came from China in tins. So it's this achievement goes all the way back to our ethos, to our view of serving our consumers. And 30 years ago, we said, okay, hey, let's manufacture in Nigeria, and we started. And we did the same thing with curry. And then about 10 years ago, we looked at tomatoes and said, hey, come on. Whenever a woman uses tomatoes, she uses pepper, onion. We did pepper and onion. And then a few years ago, 3 years ago, we said, come on. We know that we need to set a standard for jollof, and then we did party jollof. Okay? And during this time, we kept looking for people who wanted to push for culinary excellence. And then came Hilda's Cookathon in 2023. And it was about a month to the Cookathon, and Ore was working in Ghana, and Ore said, hey Vincent, there's going to be a Cookathon in your country, and I'd like us to participate. And I said, Gino never participates. We are either the #1 cheerleader or nothing. And we came on board and we began this journey. And we are still on this journey. It's a historic milestone. But I would like you to understand it's part of who we are. And this journey for us, for Hilda, for us together, is just starting. There's still a long way to go.
Okay, so the next question goes to Miss Oreoluwa Atimo. Okay, the project sparks national pride and global appeal. What was the larger vision behind investing in something of this scale, and how do you feel it has been achieved?
Okay, so I think, like my boss Vincent and Hilda was saying, we kept asking ourselves, how do we tell Nigerian story of creativity and resilience through food? And I think this is how the story started, right? So I would say that that was the first thing. And then we also asked ourselves, how can we make food more than nourishment? How can we turn food into culture? I think this was the big vision, right? And so taking, such a fantastic and a brilliant idea and turning it into culture is the most amazing thing to see. Beyond that, I think what we also successfully established is creating a platform, a global platform for food. What we do know now are music platforms. right? Music has global platforms it sits on, but what about food? What about our Nigerian food? What about our heritage? Most especially, what about Asun jollof rice? So I think even beyond all of that, we also set out to, number one, establish Asun jollof rice as a truly authentic Nigerian recipe. And I think we did that beautifully well. We also set out to introduce our new innovations, starting from the past 5 years. We have been slowly building, launching innovations that celebrate our local flavor, which is in line with our ethos anyway, to celebrate local flavors. And so it was a great moment to bring all of this together and put it on a global platform.
Okay, so Hilda, how did you come about this recipe that has now become the famous record-setting combo?
You people will say that I've come again. But I remember when I started cooking quite young. I think I was maybe 8 or 9. Jollof rice was something that I never really used to make. It wasn't necessarily the biggest recipe in my house. And as time went on, I think from going to school, going to university, I realized that, jollof rice was a big thing. And for some strange reason, it didn't come so easy to me. You know, I would try and I would just feel like something is missing. You know, there's just something that is not just there. And I talk about my talent for cooking because the way people know how to sing is kind of how I know how to cook. You know, like these ideas just come to mind and then I put them into practice. Now, for the jollof rice recipe, and a lot of people probably wonder like, why did you combine, you know, our 3 innovations, which is the patty jollof, the asun paste, and the pepper chicken paste? Like, I'm very unconventional when it comes to recipes, especially because I'm very big on our local recipes and our local flavors, and I feel like that's why Gino and I match so nicely. But yeah, so it was, I had been able to now figure out from trials and errors what my major issues were with making jollof rice, and I had now established an amazing jollof rice that led me on to winning, the jollof face-off between Nigeria and, another country. And, and moving on from there, when I started selling food, there were so many things. Everyone's always coming up with something new, and you want to provide your consumers with something delicious and something different, and just on a random day, quite frankly, I was like, I had goat's meat and I was making jollof rice, and the thought just came to me like, what if I, fried my base with goat heads to infuse the goat flavor inside the jollof rice, and I made it and I sent it to a client, and they really, really, really liked it, and that's what gave birth to the asun jollof rice that I started selling, right? And I remember when Gino and I, met, when they were courting me, there were so many agreements that we had, and I told them, I was like, I remember having this conversation with Vincent, and I was like, there's so many things, though, like, I want cubes, I want paste, I want this, and they're like, you're in the right place, but there are things that we've been working on, you're going to be so happy with what we've put together so far. And I remember in January when I think they sent me a few samples for the cubes and the asun paste, and I'm like, yeah, this is it, like, this is actually, like, I combined all 3 because pepper chicken had already been launched the year before, and like patty jollof was already there. I'm like, let me combine all 3 and see what we get. And when I made it, I texted her, I was like, see, this is all you need to make your jollof cake. So when the idea to make the largest pot of jollof rice came, honestly, I figured that this recipe has been a bestseller in my restaurant. This recipe has probably bought me quite a number of nice things, and I think Nigerians need to get a feel of it. And the beautiful thing is, before now, I would have to go through so many steps to get there. But because of these new innovations, it has cut down my prep time by half. which is why I'm constantly pushing it. As someone will say, oh, she's marketing because she's their brand ambassador, I promise you, a trial will convince you. It is next level. I'm going to publish the recipe for you to see soon.
Okay, so a quick question. Someone asked me earlier, not today, what's next for Hilda Baci? Are we going to see a larger pot of beans? Okay, so let's move on. So let's go to the managing director, GB Foods. That's marketing director. Sorry. Okay, so marketing director, yes. The Guinness World Record gave Gino the global spotlight. What does this recognition mean for the brand's story and position?
I think this just establishes what Gino has always been. Gino has always been a household name. Beyond Nigeria, Gino is an African brand, has been around for many years, is in almost every Nigerian home. I mean, probably penetration of some of our products is 100%. I think the only extra lane is in the cubes, because many people associate Gino with the tomato paste, right? But what this has also done is that it has brought our cubes to the foremost, will I say, mind of consumers. So that would be the extra thing. But I think this entire thing has just reinforced what Gino has always stood for excellence, for quality, for innovation.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Vincent Ibe. Beyond the brand's visibility, how do you see the record shaping Gino's role in advancing Nigeria's culinary narrative globally?
We're making progress. We're making progress. If you think about culture, and Hilda spoke about it, I spoke about it. Over the last 30 years, we began with our movies, and Nollywood quickly went up to the top 3 globally. And then we moved to our music. And our music, inspired by Nigeria, Afrobeats, is what's celebrated all around the world. And the world's biggest sporting events, you have our biggest stars headlining the biggest events, whether it's the European Cup or the World Cup or different events around the world. And we believe that somebody needs to champion the way for food. When you go anywhere in the world, you would see Chinese food, Indian food. Gino committed, because for GB Foods, our parent company, our theme, our ethos, our purpose is celebrating local flavors. Is how can we make it possible to plant Nigerian cuisine and culinary traditions first on the Nigerian map and then globally? When you think about making rice and stew, you can make rice and stew in 30 minutes. If you think about making our jollof, you can make it usually in 30 minutes. But try to make something that is Naija, like asun rice, and you need about 3 hours. But if you can produce a recipe delicious enough to bring that asun to life in 30 minutes, then the adoption of asun rice in Nigeria would grow, and the adoption around the world then becomes possible. And so what has just happened, and this is why we took our time as an unconventional company, an unconventional brand, to look for somebody committed to just the same things, like Hilda. And this union has started producing a lot of fruits, whether you look at our pepper chicken. And this is not a marketing thing, because one other thing that's very important about us, we don't make products because we want to sell more. We make products because we want to enjoy, because we want to make a difference in the consumer's life. So when we make something, we make it with the intention that we want to enjoy it. And that's the spirit behind Party Jollof. That's the spirit behind pepper chicken. That's the spirit behind asun. And so what you can expect is what has happened has given us a good foundation a good pedestal to be able to connect with more and more people, to do, of course, more and more things. I can't tell you what we're going to do next, but I can assure you that this is just the beginning.
Final question from the colleague at MTA. What happens to the pot holder?
Oh, you mean our pots? Oh, trust me, so many people have asked about that pot. So people want to buy it. They said we should auction it. But I think that pot is a symbol of a lot of beautiful things. It's a symbol of history. It's a symbol of faith. It's a symbol of innovation, because trust me, the process of putting that pot together, you know, it's a symbol of many things, and I think we agree that this is something that we want 10 years from now, 20 years from now, for people to still be able to see and point to and say that was the biggest pot of jollof rice in Nigeria, right? And in the world, not just Nigeria, because it's been established that it's the first time. I mean, right now I can tell you we're definitely not going to auction it. We're not going to sell it. We're going to make sure that as many people as possible get to see it in its glory. And you're probably going to ask me, are you going to keep it in that shape? No. We're going to put it back in the form that it originally was. And I don't know, you'll find it maybe on your way to work or in a museum somewhere. Who knows?
Thank you so much, Hilda. Thank you so much, everyone. So now we're going to move to the one-on-one sessions, and we already have interview positions outside, so we can take questions separately and speak to the members of the press. But if you have any final feedback from Mr. Vincent, Ms. Ore, Hilda, anything you want to say to the press right now. And if not, there's a station there, we have 3 stations there where we can interview Mr. Vincent Egbe, we can interview Ms. Ore Atimo and Ms. Hilda Baci. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us here today. So we'll be moving to the station now. Taye from our team and Chidima will be coordinating the interviews at the station. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Worry, my phone, the black phone and the mic, younger mic, the 2 phones, younger FM mic. Sorry,
Thank you very much.
Are we done?
The right number. Sorry, fire was one person here.
Sorry, let me. Okay, come out.
Carry your head to one for them.
Take your hands back. Take your hands back. I want to outside here now. Take your hands back.
Rex, just manage. Maybe this is small.
All right, everybody, please move backwards.
Let's move back, please.
Let's move backwards.
Okay.
Please move backwards. Sorry, move backwards.
Sorry, please. Sorry, please. Let's move back. Thank you.
This mic should go to the ground now.
Okay.
Let me have it.
This one. Alright. Oh, is that yours? Okay. There was another one there. There's another one.
Do you have any question?
All right.
Yeah.
Sir, whose phone is that?
My foot.
Good, thank you. God bless you. Okay. All right, that's fine.
Are you good?
All right, just hold on. Don't be stuck right there. Move forward. Yes.
Oh, where's Brad?
Stop it.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's smile, please. Thank you. Please do
This video is problem now.
Thank you.
Ah, I don't know one.
Alright, but I want to address you and not do that.
Where outside?
We can just do that here.
Alright, are you ready?
Just share now.
Mr. Vincent, we're ready for you.
Wait, I want to take a picture. Hilda, just although this is the best one now.
Alright, where? You want alright, you want
This is what we're using for the press.
No, you're not using the one. We're already taking the first one outside.
For Mr.
We're going
Vincent
to use this one instead. Okay,
for
one.
Mr. Vincent.
Okay. Alright. Okay, please, can we take it now? Please, because of time.
Sorry.